How to make Russia pay? That is the burning question in many Western countries. And with sanctions not perhaps hitting as hard at Russia's economy as they may have hoped, what next? Now the EU's top diplomat wants to dive into Russia's frozen foreign exchange reserves, a method already used by the US with Afghan funds in Afghanistan.
I would be very much in favor because it is full of logic. We have the money in our pockets, and someone has to explain to me why it is good for the Afghan money and not good for the Russian money.
If they did this, the EU would have access to hundreds of billions of dollars to use as they wish to. Now, under Borrell's plan, that money would be used to rebuild Ukraine, a sort of war compensation scheme or reparations of sort without choice. Other ideas mooted include selling the seized property of Russian oligarchs. The US is already pushing for this, and the idea has gained traction in Brussels too.
Personally, I'm absolutely convinced that it is extremely important to not only freeze assets but also to make it possible to confiscate them, to make them available for rebuilding the country.
Now, he went on to say that he's already instructed the EU's legal teams to find a way to make this possible, but he may come unstuck. Some experts suggest, at least if he wants the EU to continue to respect international law.
Certainly it is a threat that in this day and age where the rule of law and international law seem to have receded quite a lot, particularly by the US and its allies, one has to take that threat seriously. However, it would be a dramatic departure from international norms and standards.
And such acts of perhaps piracy might spike alarm in other quarters. The EU and the US have fraught relations with some countries, not just Russia. The idea that they could just not seize but also use the funds would be a dramatic move.
If China sees this and starts to think, well, hang on, actually these Europeans and Americans are not trustworthy, they could just decide that we're now an enemy. And in fact, you know, we do find various statements from various politicians that seem to suggest such an idea. Then China and also many other countries could start to withdraw their assets from what essentially is the US sphere of influence, and that could precipitate a dramatic collapse in the use of the US dollar and also the euro.
Now, such a decision could also backfire for the EU. Sanctions, of course, can be challenged in courts, EU courts, and the bloc doesn't have a great record of winning such cases. Ukraine's former president Yanukovych and Egypt's former president Mubarak both won sanction-related lawsuits against the EU, meaning the idea of spending Russia's seized money could be just a lot of hot air.